Welcome to the Scottish Property Podcast. This is a show where we aim to educate, inspire and entertain through real life stories and interviews from people in the Scottish property community.
As always, thanks for listening and give us a follow on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Remember to join us at our monthly networking events on the first Wednesday of every month. Tickets are available on our website. So without further ado, we'll just cut straight into this week's podcast.
So welcome back to the Scottish Property Podcast. It's just myself and Nick Ponty today having a chat, shooting the shit. How are you, Nick?
Just the two of us.
You're going to make me sing.
Right, so this is a catch-up session because, do you know...
We haven't done one for a while. We've not spoken about our own businesses, what we're up to, how we're feeling out the market, how our businesses are growing. Like you know, every month I catch up with you, I'm always amazed at how quickly your letting agent's grown. It's grown. You've got a full-time member of staff on, but the listeners don't hear it.
You can tell by the way I'm looking, mate. Old and haggard, and an extra 2 stone since we started growing. Yeah, I mean it's been doing great. Don't get me wrong. Like starting your own business is a hard thing, as you know. You know, you're starting from scratch. We've been going now for 6 years. And those first 3 years are hard. You're not making much progress. Sometimes you feel like just jacking it in because you know.
You feel you're kind of turning that curve now. Like you feel like you're turning that curve and going on that upward trajectory.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you look at the last, I would say probably sort of 2 years, things have really been motoring. I mean, it's really good for me to speak to other letting agents as well, because other letting agents are like, business is terrible. Yeah. We're losing landlords by the day. I'm like, we're gaining.
You're proactively out there in the marketplace, on social media. You're on top of the market constantly. You know what's happening in the economy. You know what's happening in your property demographics. So, you know, if there's a tweak or an involvement or something you need to change, then the advice you give to your clients, you can do it. Yeah,
because I mean, I think at the end of the day, the letting agents that are struggling out there are ones that are, you know, they're not proactive with the marketing. Yeah. They don't do social media. You know, that's really kind of boosted me and boosted the growth, basically.
I'm assuming they're possibly losing because landlords are just selling up, exiting the market, and they've probably got the landlords, or the majority of the landlords will have one or 2 maximum properties, whereas you've got quite a lot of, you know, property investors who have got a portfolio.
100%. Plus, talking to John Cox there earlier as well, you know, we've got cash buyers as well, so they're still expanding their portfolios.
Local cash buyers or foreigner cash buyers?
Mainly foreign, I would say. Some English as well.
But they're coming at you for your expertise and your area that you manage, and find you a deal.
Yeah.
Find them a deal, manage it.
Plus, we've just acquired a small letting agency as well.
Nice.
And you want to hear about this, how this came about?
So here's breaking news on the Scottish Property Podcast.
I can't tell you too much about the ins and outs of this, right? Because some of it's confidential, but the lady basically that ran her own letting agency that has the 30 to 40 properties, we're still bringing them across basically, but I got a phone call one day out of the blue and I picked up the voicemail and it was this woman. She was like, "Hi Nick, you don't know who I am, but I'm reaching out to you. I follow you on LinkedIn. I've got an opportunity for you." Or she said, "I've got something to discuss with you," or something. I can't remember the exact words. Anyway, picked up a voicemail, called her back, and she was like just describing her situation, and she was getting out of the game and that. She had seen me on LinkedIn and been following me, and she says, "I just really like what you do and you come across good, and you would be somebody that I would be happy to recommend my clients to." Brilliant. So she approached me.
That's really cool. That's really good to see.
And that's kind of opened up my eyes to what's possible now in terms of growth. Because if that's one small letting agent out there, how many other small ones are there out there that are just scunnered with it? Yeah. When I was doing my letting agency training, basically, I was speaking to other business owners back in 2017, and they were saying because of all this regulation and all the rest of it, they've had enough. There's too much government intervention. They can't keep up with all this latest stuff. You know, there must be loads of other tired ones out there, and I'm thinking, well, potentially that is an avenue for growth for me as well.
That's good. How do you, I suppose, measure the success of your company? Is it on the amount of tenanted stock, or is it the profit turnover? What is it? How's it go? I know letting agents are quite hung up on the numbers of stock, but does it really mean much if you've got 300 properties that are fucking shitholes getting £400 a month, or you've got 300 properties in high end West End of Glasgow getting £2,000 a month. Like, surely there's a difference in that.
Aye. So, I mean, obviously, from a letting agent's point of view, the business model is we take a 10% plus VAT commission on the rent. So, obviously, if you have higher value properties, like we've got a couple of crackers in the West End of Glasgow, and you know, big houses as well, that you're getting the rent's like £1,500 to £2,000. Do you know what I mean? So if you actually think about that, right, if you're getting 10% of £2,000, it's the equivalent to actually owning your average buy to let property and the cash flow you're getting. Do you know what I mean? So plenty more of them would be ideal. Obviously, the downside of that is that most of our clients are actually portfolio building investors, and generally property values that are going for those level of rents are generally not making sense now in the higher interest rate environment. So most of our stock is rental valuations of between, you know, 550 and 850 or something like that, and you know, purchase prices you're probably talking up to about 120 grand. Do you know what I mean?
Right. So managing HMO stock that gives that kind of income then?
So we don't do HMO. I don't do HMO.
Is it something you would venture into?
No, it's just not interested, because it's very specialised, and to be honest with you, the people that I speak to, it's just a lot of problems with, basically in Glasgow, the students, basically first year, second year students. Do you know what I mean? So
single room rents and all that kind of stuff.
There's a lot of turnover, there's a lot of problems, noise complaints. You know, a lot of them are just privileged wee brats, and they're entitled. Do you know what I mean? There's that entitlement, so they're just causing all sorts of issues. Like Alex Walker says, I like to rent to, you know, good solid families, you know, and you know, in there long term and all that, and you get a good relationship built with them. I mean, that's probably the bread and butter of our stock, is kind of families, young professionals and stuff like that. I mean, we've got students as well, don't get me wrong.
You've got a new member of staff, works for you full time now?
Yeah.
Past the probational period, she's working out.
Shout out to Annette, absolutely brilliant, she's great. She's not on social media, actually. And to be fair, that's not important to me, although like I spend half my life on social media, it seems, but you know, you kind of like, I've been doing a lot of business like education, reading books and all the rest of it. And what becomes apparent is that in all the stuff that you listen to in podcasts and that, they say that you've got to kind of hire people based on the skills that you don't have. So this doesn't make sense for me to go out and hire somebody that's amazing at social media when that's my role. Do you know what I mean?
You're the business development person in your business almost to grow the business by being out there and being visual and authentic.
Exactly. So she's very organised. You know, she's very good at the admin side of things, thinks about stuff that I don't even think about, very good at forward planning as well. Part of my downfall is like, I'll get to, you know, the end of the week and they'll be like,
fuck, that tenant's moving.
They'll be like move-ins, and I'm like, have we contacted that tenant to say what the arrangement is to pick up the keys, and you know, has the rent been paid and all that? And I'll be thinking about that on the Friday. She's already thought about it on the Wednesday or the Tuesday and that, and planned it in. Do you know what I mean? And that was what I really needed, and that has helped hugely. So yeah, she's been with us over a year now.
How's it been relinquishing control? Because you know, you've built this for the ground up. It's a decent sized agency now. You've now got somebody in that's now taken those responsibilities from you.
That was hard initially, because like I'm a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to, you know, this is what I can't understand about today's world, right? Because like I'm dealing with like factoring companies.
It's like an old fucker saying that.
I'm an old fucker. I'm an old fucker. This is what I don't understand, how businesses function now that don't reply, that don't actually even give a response, right? So we deal with like factors companies. You know, these big factors companies in Glasgow that have been going for like decades and decades, that are massive businesses with loads of staff. You can't even get an email response from somebody about an issue or a problem. You're like, how do these businesses actually function? How do they keep going? And you know, I'm running a very small business, and I'm like, I need to respond to somebody within like an hour, 2 hours or something like that. And
like client customer service is the biggest focus for you, to make sure your tenants and landlords are happy. Whereas Is it? Do you feel like you're scared the bigger you grow the agency, that might get lost in translation?
I don't think so, because I've set myself a target. My targets and goals are always changing.
Mm-hmm.
Initially, it was like, we'll get 200 properties and we'll stop. Now it's like 500. So like, we'll see where that ends up. But I think even at like 500 properties, I can still remain, personal to the client, to the landlord, possibly not the tenants, obviously.
Yeah, at some point that would be the bit transfer over.
To the investor and to the landlords, because like obviously most of our clients will have more than one property as well. So even at 500 properties, we might only have, I don't know, 150 clients or something like that. Do you know what I mean? So I can still, people should be able to get a meeting with me if there's an issue, and I should be able to just, give them that time that they need if they want to get a straight answer. Because I don't think I could ever let control completely. Yeah. I'm talking like I'm a big fucking high flying.
No, but there's the growth in that. Like, you've now got to that stage where you can't do everything in that business.
Aye.
There's too much. So
well, that's been a mindset shift for me. Totally bringing myself out of certain roles and giving her the trust basically to do it. And you know what? Like, if she messes up, and nobody's perfect, and I need to realise that allow her to make mistakes and learn from them. And there's hardly any mistakes that can't be sorted.
Is there growth for more employees where you're kind of working on work instructions and processes and stuff like that, so that can be passed down? Or
yeah, I'm literally taking somebody else on just now. So the way I see it is that we'll do like property managers. So say you've got a portfolio, right, and you're having your properties managed by us. You'll have one point of contact, which will be the property manager, and they'll be in charge of like 100 properties. And then that's the way I kind of want to grow it. So each one's in charge of 100 properties. And then there'll be maybe other ones that will just specialise in doing like viewings and inventories that are out in the field all the time doing that.
Do you do all your inventories and check-ins and outs in-house as well?
We're a mixture. We do pull in like subcontractors and that when we're really busy, but we find it as beneficial to keep it in-house, because we've got systems that are like keep track and log everything that are easily adaptable by us, whereas if we outsource it, they're using other systems that don't tie in with ours. So then there's a bit of an issue there. So preferably in-house, but it's going well, mate. I mean, like, honestly, people say to me, I don't know how you do it. Like, that's fucking, who wants to be like?
You've always enjoyed, though. It's your skill set. It's what you're passionate about. How's that affected your own portfolio journey? You've still got the cash sitting there. Are you looking, what's the avenues for growth for your own investments?
So, own portfolio is taking a bit of a stall, to be honest with you, just because I've been solely focused on building the lettings business. And looking at, there's a guy I follow on YouTube, a guy called James Sinclair, who does a podcast as well, and he talks a lot about the trading business and all that, and then using those funds, those profits in the business to then invest. And for me, that was like going back a few years, I was kind of like, I'll just be the investor straight from the go, and then I won't ever have to work. You know what I mean? It's not really turned out that way, and now I've realised the value in actually building a business asset that's worth something that you can then sell, and also in the meantime you can use the profits to invest.
I had that conversation with someone recently as well. They were like asking me, what would you do if you started again in property? And the same answer was basically what you just said, and it must be the journey we all go through. It's like, I wouldn't start off in property. Like, you're having to fight a deal and create this equity with fucking thin air, and the work you've got to put into to find a below market value deal and add the value and scale that portfolio up. Whereas if I just focus on actually scaling a business up, they made shit tons of cash, then I could just bought properties at market value and quite happily just grew that investment portfolio. So that's quite a good way of looking at it, actually. Yeah,
it's about a kind of like, I really enjoy. I don't feel like I'm spending enough time on marketing and social media and all that. I feel like eventually that'll be my main role, and I hope it is my main role. Obviously, I'll still need to check over the finances, make sure landlords are getting paid on time and all the rest of it. But
you systemise that process, though. Do you do your rent rolls in the first of the month, or is it scattered throughout the month?
Because we've got a really good system called PayProp, it's like all automates it, but I still need to go in every day, make sure that I'm ticking them off and double checking that the sort of the amounts are correct. It doesn't take a long time. It'll maybe be like 15 minutes a day. like Lisa, my wife, always goes mental at me because I always leave it. So basically, the cut off for payments is 10 o'clock at night. That's when the last payments are made at 10 o'clock.
You're sitting at 9:30 at night.
And I always leave it till 9:45.
No, you just try and get out, put the kids to bed. And you go do the payment, rent rolls.
She's like, where are you? She's shouting around the house. I'm like, I'm doing my rents. See those fucking rents? It's important though. The landlords need to be paid on time.
At 9 o'clock in the morning and 9 o'clock at night.
So she goes mental. You know what it's like though. Yeah. I mean, eventually I'd like to think I'll be able to get an office as well out of the house, because I mean it has been working well, it's fine, but it's starting to get to the point now where I've got that keyboard set up, the keys.
Yeah.
So I set that up and it's now like Lisa's like, I can't get away from this business. It's fucking ARC property everywhere I look. We've even got a keyboard now inside the house.
and that's part of your, I suppose, future investment strategy is looking into commercial office for you, but also to sublet, sort of rent other spaces out as well.
Yeah, 100%. And obviously I've been trying to do a bit of research on that. So I think we got like 160 grand or something like that built up in company profits now that have just been sat there over the years that I've not done anything with. I need to be smarter with that money. It's just sitting there doing absolute hee-haw. So, you know, looking at other strategies like the commercial stuff, you know, buying a building like this that we're sitting in just now and subdividing it into units, like we talk about to a lot of our other guests about that kind of multiple occupancy commercial stuff. And I think that would fit in really well to my business, because I can take an office space for my own business.
Yeah, pay that. Would you buy the office inside the ARC properties, or would you buy it inside a pension and then rent it to your pension, rent it to yourself?
Yeah,
and other tenants.
So doing it through like a SAS pension, and then
makes sense.
Renting it basically and that would be the income, tax free, isn't it? You know what I mean? So I'm at the early stages of looking at that. Every time Jerry Alexander comes along to our networking event in Glasgow, he's like taking me aside into the corner and he's like, so what have you done?
How have you moved that needle forward?
How have you? And it's been like 2 years having the conversations, but that is part of my downfall. I have ideas, like we all have ideas, and then try to just pull the trigger and all that is the problem when you're so wrapped up. I'm so wrapped up in this kind of building this lettings business, which I enjoy. Like I enjoy going out date. Like yes, I'll give you an example. Yesterday, stuff that I shouldn't have been doing, right, that I ended up doing, and this is where my time just totally goes out the window. So yesterday there was a tenant moved in and she had loads of stuff. Like she sent an email basically with a whole list of stuff. Washing machine's not working. There's some the paint work around the cornicing's like dirty. There's dust down the back of the radiators. There's what else was there? Oh, there's loads of things. There's a drawer thing not working in the kitchen. Yeah, so I'm like, Nick to the rescue. I get on my toolkit, mate. I get my Hoover. I get my cleaning bag.
Mr. Muscle there as well, yeah.
And I'm like, turn up at this girl's house, you know, and I'm like, that's just what I love. Just like speaking to people and just like getting in there and getting my hands dirty as well. So I went in there. Obviously, these radiators were clogged thick, full of dust. And like, you know, that way you sometimes when you're doing a refurb and you're scraping the wallpaper off the walls and all that, and it all just gets caught up in the radiators and stuff like that. And a lot of time you don't want to take the wee grill bits off because you can never get them back on. Right. So I'm like, I'm not taking those grills off because I've been here before and I've not been able to get them back on. It ends up, I look like a total idiot, and then you've got a broken radiator. So I got one of these. I got the Hoover, right, which I've got this Screwfix Hoover, and it's brilliant because you've got a sucker and then you've got a blower. So I got the blower, right, and I get it's really strong. So I get the thing and blow the dust out the radiator. But the stuff just went everywhere, and the girl's standing behind me and it's just like blowing all the way around, and she's got like all over her bed and her sofa, and she's like trying to clear it all. Anyway, so I was in that flat for about an hour and a half, right, and that's like, the landlord will never know about that.
But is that, like, that's what makes you in that business as well. But then it depends what you want. Like, we've had this conversation before where you talk about what you want in a business. Is it to be the biggest letting agency in Glasgow or Scotland, or is it to enjoy what you do?
I really enjoyed that
Aye.
because I got a buzz out of sorting that girl's problem out. She moved into that flat and she was a wee bit like, oh, there's all these issues. There was maybe 10 problems.
Should be the worst.
She's now got to go to the dry cleaning and get all her stuff washed because all the dust on it. So she's now,
all night.
she's now got 20 she's got a dust allergy, she's got 20 other problems. So
but you solved that problem. You went out there and done do.
I probably got 6 out of 10 of those issues sorted. The other few I'll need to get a contractor out.
But at least you kept the tenant happy, which in turn kept the landlord happy because the tenant's not pissed off and moving out and giving their notice to quit the next day.
Exactly, but it's like from a business owner's point of view, I know that if I went on a business mastery course or something like that, you know, then they try either telling you how to scale a business and all that, and I'm sitting there saying that's what I'm doing day to day. They're like, mate, you've got it all wrong. That's no, you need to be working on the income generating tasks. Like, you're not the fucking hoovering radiators.
I fight with myself with this all the time as well.
Guys, thanks for listening. It's been a good catch up, a good chat, and hope you get value as always. Take care.
Superb, guys. Cheers. And if you could leave us a review, we would really, really appreciate it. Helps us reach more people with the podcast. Thanks.
Well, I've got loads of reviews. Just subscribe to our YouTube channel because we're trying to grow that.
Thanks a lot, guys.